Great to have you with us. In our first story, Director General of the Ghana Health Service is asking people who have taken the COVID-19 tests to self-isolate till their results are out. According to Dr. Patrick Abuaje, once you take the test, you are considered positive until the labs reveal otherwise. Ghana's cumulative case count now stands at 18,630, comprising 496 new cases with deaths at 117. Dr. Patrick Abuaje speaking at the bi-weekly briefing by Ghana's COVID-19 management team.
We are now recording 18,630 positive cases, with a total recovery of 14,046. The current reported death is 117, accounting for 0.63% of the positives, with an active case of 4,467. These people are being managed at the treatment sites, isolations, and at home management, depending on the situation. Home management comes in if you do not have a comorbidity, if you have a that is suitable for self-isolation, and as you don't have any symptoms. So you have most mild symptoms that can be managed at home. Currently, we have 22 cases who are severe condition, 8 are critical with 6 on ventilators. Total number of 496 new cases were reported from 50 districts from 10 regions. This is in contrast to last presentation where we had from 41 districts and 9 regions. Greater Accra remains the region with the highest new cases, out of 209 cases from 18 out of the 28 districts in Greater Accra. Ashanti follows with 158 new cases in 8 districts, 11 districts. Bono East has 35 new cases from 4 districts. Eastern region, 27 new cases in 5 districts. Afo has 18 new cases in 1 district. This is a localized outbreak. Western has 17 new cases also in 1 district. Powers reported 14 new cases in 5 districts. Central 10 cases in 2 districts. Water had 2 in 2 districts, and Western North had 3 from 1 district. Upper East, Northern Northeast, Otibo, and Savannah did not report any positives as yesterday.
And may the soul of Sir John rest in perfect peace. Away from that, though, an infectious disease expert with the Kolebu Teaching Hospital and the University of Ghana Medical Center has warned against trooping to registration centers without adequately observing coronavirus protocols. Dr. Isabella Ifwa Samwa advised that without the protocol enforcement at the centers, cases could be recorded as a result of poor immune systems of the voter population eager to take advantage of the registration exercise. She was speaking on the AM show with Roland Walker.
It's unfortunate with all that is happening. Sometimes I wonder if we still think COVID is a lie. I mean, from some of your interviews with people in their homes, a good number of people still believe that it's non-existent. And they have all these myths that they believe they won't get COVID. I mean, it's unfortunate to see what we saw. I mean, with the crowd restrictions of even 100 or so, we are still not complying. Where we have reached with COVID, okay, we need to take it up on a community-based level. Wherever the registrations are taking place, I believe there are district assemblymen, there are authorities in those areas that we can by ourselves protect, you know, rather than always look up to the government to step in. So if the MP of those areas or the whoever has authority in those districts can get to those places and enforce that there's hand washing, there's social distancing, that this number of people, strict number of people at a certain area at a particular time, like what was done at Richard they marked some areas where people are supposed to sit, and they make sure that there isn't overcrowding by doing all that, okay? I think for us Ghanaians, we wait so much, everything has to be government. But unfortunately, the disease is with us. So on a community level, I think this is what we should be doing. Authorities in each community is as important, the restrictions as important to them as every politician. Everybody in this community should ensure that these practices go on safely. And that can be done by also making sure that the behavioral patterns that have been prescribed are adhered to. Looking at your screen, I'm actually checking to see whether there's the Veronica buckets or any place that we can have hand washing. But as an individual, even if we don't have it there, unfortunately, we should have it there. I mean, but even if we don't have it there, I think we have the sanitizers. We should sanitize our hands there and then, okay? Then when we get home, we wash our hands. And of course...
Now, speaking of the EC's voter registration, let's take a quick trip around the country and assess how the process has been so far. Nana Senso-Mensah is joining us from Kumasi in the Ashanti region. Nana Sabit is also with us, and Rafiq Salam. Let me begin with you, Asenso. We heard that 3 NDC branch executives have been arrested at Asawase. Give us an update.
Yeah, Daniel, the 3 suspects are currently in the police grips of the Central Regional Police Command. We understand that they were in possession of some voluminous forms that they were arrested yesterday. And we've been speaking with the Municipal Security Coordinator, Ali Dusedu, who explained to us that the arrest was made yesterday, and then they hope that the 3 suspects will be arraigned before court immediately to ensure that the youth are not used by the in the region. And then also we further engaged the NDC Communication Director for the constituency, Yakubu Tony Edu, who actually confirmed the 3 suspects. He said they were currently in the police grips, and then the party executives are in talks with the police command to ensure that the 3 suspects are released. Yeah.
Right. So, Asenso, away from that specific case, you've been monitoring the registration centers. Give us an update of what you've observed.
Yeah, it's quite peaceful over here. Behind me is the security patrol. You can see that. And then for Asawase here, people perceive here to be quite tense, but true to be told, Asawase is very calm. And then talking about the social distancing and then the safety protocols for the COVID-19, comparing today to last 2 days, today there's quite improvement. But moving to some registration centers, still people are not adhering to the social distancing. People are packed bumper to bumper. And then you see that people are just, closer to each other. The 1 meter gap is not seriously adhered to. So we wish that people going forward will adhere to the safety protocols to ensure that the COVID-19 is not, domestically spread during the registration process.
Anas, what's happening at the Bono East region? Has there been an improvement in adhering to safety protocols? Yes, Anas Sabit.
Okay, today I'm monitoring the Nkranza North and South constituencies. Daniel, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Great. We are in the Nkranza South constituency currently. From here, we're moving to the Nkranza North constituency, and I've been to some 4 registration centers. Where I'm standing currently is the EFA Junior High School Registration Center, and so far, so good. What I'm seeing here, I'm very much impressed with the conduct of the exercise here. In fact, from where the forms are being filled and where the photos are being taken, there's a bit of distance, and all those who are here are seated in a distance manner. They've provided the Veronica buckets, and hand washing is taking place. We have Ghana Health Service officials also here to ensure that they take the temperatures of this register. So from my checks within the Nkranza South constituency of the Bono East region, all safety protocols are strictly being adhered to, including social distancing, which from day one has been a source of worry for those of us in the region. But here, things are in order so far.
That's very good news, and as I'll come back to you, but let me pick what Rafiq has been observing as well. Rafiq, is there a better story in the Upper West region as well? Right, Rafiq, yeah, go ahead.
Today is better right from day 1, day 2, and day 3, because what we experienced the other a couple of days was not the best, but today they are observing all the protocols in most of the polling stations, the registration centers that I have visited. You can talk about the Anglican Primary, the Wa High Court, and also the Limairi Ahmadiyya Central Mosque. And so registration is orderly and peaceful in these areas, and I can report to you that most of the registration centers that I have visited today have already registered more than 60 people.
That sounds very encouraging. So, Anas, have you been interacting with some of these people who are observing social distancing, and what have they been telling you?
Yes, they are quite happy with the exercise so far. In fact, the current registration center I am, as at midday today, they've registered over 75 people. That is an improvement compared to what happened yesterday. Standing next to me is the municipal chief executive for Nkranza municipality. She is here also on a monitoring tour of the exercise. Mrs. Diana Atakusiwa is here. I would want to engage her briefly on also her assessment from day one and whether there have been some steps taken to enlighten the people on the need to strictly adhere to the protocols so far as COVID-19 is concerned. Madam, thank you for joining us here on JoyNews. Thank you. Briefly, your assessment of the exercise from day one, has there been improvements?
Yes, since we started the registration exercise, I've been monitoring the process. But I've seen that people are happy and they are registered. When you go to a center, the number that have registered is alarming. So people are cooperating. People are cooperating so well that we are very happy that people are cooperating.
Security issues and then adherence to the social distancing protocol, was it a concern in the first day?
Yes. If you go there, you see that people are, though the social distancing is somehow a bit, they are not adhering to, but when you take the wearing of the nose mask, you can see that everybody is wearing. So for that one, they are adhering to. And also the security situation is very calm in the municipality. For the first phase, the places that the registration is going on, if you go there, you see that everything is calm. We have police everywhere and other security agencies monitoring the process. So everything is going on well.
Thank you so much, Daniel. So that is the MC, Municipal Chief Executive for Nkranza's municipality, right. Madam Diana Atakusiwa, giving us her point of view in relation to the exercise in the Nkranza South constituency.
Thanks very much, Anas. Let me wrap up with Nana Sensu Mensah at Asawase. Nana Sensu, so generally, would you say that things are calmer in that part of the country? Yesterday we were here, and the day before we're hearing complaints of people being bussed into the constituency, and we heard close to threats, especially from members of the NDC, that they would go to all lengths to stop this from happening. What's the update on that situation?
Areas into that constituency to register. And then largely, I would say that for, let's say, the 14 registration centers that have been, it is peaceful here in Asawase. And then just that the social distancing is the issue over here. Everybody is wearing the nose mask. People who are not nose masks are not allowed into the registration centers. Now, another issue is that the polling station executives, let me say the EC officials are also finding difficulties to talk to the registrants to adhere to the social distancing. When they talk to them, they don't listen. They feel that they are supposed to, at all costs, get their voter ID card. So that is the challenge that the EC officials are also having with the registrar. But aside that, Asawase is largely peaceful here.
Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Rafik Salam, Anna Sabit, and Nana Sensumenta. We move from the registration, and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture says it has put in place measures to provide a stable food supply chain as the country fights the global coronavirus. At a media briefing today, Deputy Director at the Ministry, Josephine Kwegwin, mentioned, among others, strengthening food production programs, improving extension delivery, and enhancing access to finance for crop and livestock producers as well as processors. Josephine Kwegwin was confident these would mitigate the effect of COVID-19 on the agriculture sector, as well as ensure there is no food deficit in the country. Evelyn Arthur has more in the following report. Right to you.
COVID-19 has had a negative impact not only on the health sector, but also on every aspect of the economy. Deputy Agric Minister says the agric sector is grappling with food availability, food price stability, and utilization. In a meeting with stakeholders Wednesday, the Deputy Director outlined measures her office is taking to minimize the impact of the situation on farmers and consumers. She spoke on the theme, anchoring Ghana's post-COVID recovery on agriculture, investing in smallholder farmers for food security and growth.
We are also aiming at giving them affordable financing. So, for example, our OVCF projects, the interest rate was 18. And according to my director, she informed me yesterday that they are having discussions so that the interest rate will be reduced to about 10 to make it more affordable to agribusinesses. So these are some of the initiatives being put in place to ensure that all access have access to finance. So the fourth is promoting production of high-value vegetables and give support to a number of them together, like hatcheries, not just one, but they come as a team of value chain actors to get the support so that they could do the production. So we are focusing on establishing processing plants, local hatcheries, supporting feed millers, and also giving out credit in kind for small ruminants to some of our...
General Secretary of the Agriculture Union of the TUC, Edward Karewe, asked government to help deal with challenges of land management for farmers.
So land management in this country is poor, and as we all know, that is the reason why every space is used for land building, when in the actual fact there are some of these lands that are very suitable for agricultural purpose. We can designate those ones aside for that purpose, and then those lands that are not suitable for agricultural purpose, use them for estate development.
Some of the farmers who spoke to JoyNews expressed worry about the development and called on government to intervene.
As small-scale farmers, we need machine to till our lands and other things. But it comes to a point that we can't afford. And we are saying that though government brought the machine on a subsidy price, but we cannot afford it. And I'm saying that if the government can, we are in group. If the government can make it that we pay 10% of the machine, then he give it to us, then the rest we pay by installment, I think it will help us a lot.
Evelyn Arthur's report for JoyNews.
Now, a joint security team deployed into the Oti region, specifically at the Kechi border outpost in the Jasikan district, has destroyed a newly constructed footbridge linking Ghana to Togo. Now, the development has infuriated the Togolese counterparts who use the footbridge. They have threatened to deal with the security team in charge of the border outpost who destroyed the unapproved access. The footbridge in question appears to have just been constructed because of the freshness of the wood used. JoyNews has also observed that trees have been felled across the river, separating the two countries in order for migrants to get easy access. So JoyNews' Peter Senu joins us from the Oti region with more. So Peter, this is an illegal footbridge, no? Right, Peter, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you, Daniel.
Great. So this is an illegal footbridge we are looking at.
Yes, very illegal. And looking at the nature of it, it was constructed just recently. Looking at the freshness of the wood that was used to construct it.
Right. Give us a bit of a background about how the team discovered this footbridge and destroyed it.
Border outpost in the Oti region, but it's in the Jasikan district of the Oti region. And then during our porous borders, if you remember, we went there and then we gave vivid account of how porous our borders are. And then after this deployment, it looks as if all the unapproved routes have been sealed and then blocked for that matter. And so people who cross into Ghana have found a new way to make access. And so this is a new bridge they have constructed just recently to get access into Ghana. And the team deployed into the region, got the tip off and then went in to break the connection at a point. And so that is the situation there. They cut the bridge into two, at least from the Ghana part, so that the Togolese part is there, but they cannot cross with the easy access into the country.
Right, and we understand that some people are angry by this.
Yes, it is our Togolese counterpart. You know, they, according to our information, they have some farms at our end. And so now that they cannot get access, and then apart from the farming, they come in as and when it pleases them. And so that is why they are angry. In fact, they have, according to our sources, with the security, they have threatened them that they would deal with them. And so that is the situation here, and the security, according to them, they will not take kindly to any threat from anyone. And so they are also on their guard. But as we speak, the bridge has been, collapsed so that they could not get access into Ghana.
Peter, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon with this update.
Hello everyone, welcome to Business. Yesterday, the 1st of July, should have been Africa's big trade reset, a historic deal to smash down tariff barriers within the continent. And that is on hold now because of the COVID-19 pandemic and the slow pace of negotiations. Country Director of CATS International, Apia Kusi-Adumako, has been reacting to that.
The pandemic has caused a lot of inconvenience to global trading. And with this issue, the African Union has decided to defer the commencement of the trading to next year. No new firm date has come yet, but we are very sure that within the second quarter, later by the second quarter of 2021, trading will start. And of course, this also gives member countries time to patch up all outstanding issues with regards to rules of engagement and other protocols that have not been finalized. But again, this deferment has also taken away the kind of enthusiasm that we African countries had prior to the virus. But I want to say that though the AFCFTA is not starting, at the regional level, people are trading because from Ghana to Togo, trucks are moving. And ECOWAS has ensured that we allow goods to be able to move across borders.
But not in the volumes that you expect. I mean, it's not as we used to have or what you expect to happen. I mean, the trading across the borders and volumes that you're talking about.
Yes, of course, the COVID restriction has also affected volume of produce that can come out from various assembly lines. And so, but at least it's still a sign of encouragement because here, when you go to a market in Accra, for example, you can get the Burkinabe tomatoes. And it tells you that we are still trading. And goods from South Africa can still come into the country through the airport. And so I think nothing has been lost that much with the deferment of the trading across member countries. I know that at least it's also giving member countries that were not very strong, that didn't have a very strong productive capacity. This crisis has also allowed them to step up their manufacturing base, waiting for the actual commencement of the trading. So I think it has in it some blessing and also some curse. And I think that we need to look at the positive side of what this crisis has brought to us by allowing countries to trade without any restriction would have been the best. But you know that goods cannot move without human beings.
So the world is in a grip of a crisis, and policymakers now have to make decisions based on data, putting pressure on agencies tasked with such responsibilities. The Ghana Statistical Service says the COVID-19 pandemic has exposed challenges to do with logistics and human resource. Here is government statistician Professor KOBINA ANIM explaining some of the realities statisticians are facing now in an interview with the United Nations Department of Economics and Social Affairs.
So within Ghana Statistical Service, one of our main challenges had to do with the realization of what is now called the new world that we find ourselves in. So as GS, I had the responsibility to let colleagues know that things are not as usual, so there is the need for us to begin to adapt based on our resources. The other challenge had to do with, if you want to do it, do you have the capacity to do it, both human and financial resources? This was really the case because since we had to deploy new ways of working, specifically working from home, it came with challenges as in whether all staff, for instance, had access to data. All staff, for instance, have home environments that they could turn around easily to make them work environment, and whether all the staff had basic facilities such as laptop for them to work with. So we needed to think about the adaptation from a resource point of view. And as I said, it had to do with both financial and human. The human side was more of whether our technological setup would give us the opportunity to harness the full need for the use of ICT in the world of COVID-19. The other thing is we internally had to think about how we reorganize and refocus ourselves in the space of COVID-19, because definitely it came up with different sets of demands, different sets of expectations. So one challenge was whether we could quickly readjust, refocus, re-strategize in order to meet these challenges. At the national level, it was much more challenging for us because this was a period where a lot of policymakers were looking up to Ghana Statistical Service for data that hitherto we didn't think it was our responsibility. I mean, a typical example is whether we had ventilators to accommodate any increase in infections, whether we have adequate hospital beds to address the challenge, and whether the diversity of data that is needed, we can really set ourselves forward for it. So the expectations from the national side also impacted on whether, as GSS, we are in a position to respond adequately for it.
Then that's it for business. Daryl, thank you very much for joining us